Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to chair this session. We have three papers today, and first is by Bertan Turhan, who will present how to de-reserve reserves.
First, thank you very much for organizing this fantastic conference and providing us to present our research here. This is a joint work with Orhan Aygün from Boğaziçi University. Orhan is in the audience. You can ask your questions to him via chat. So today I will be talking about reserve systems in practice. Recently, reserve systems got a lot of attention from both policymakers and economists, and also operation researchers to design allocation schemes to allocate scarce resources. Some examples you see here in the setting of school choice, in college admission. Recently, Patak et al. Propose a method of allocation of medical resources for COVID-19 pandemic. Another application is H-1B visa allocations. And last one that I will be talking about today is the allocation of government seats and government jobs and seats at publicly funded educational institutions in India. So first, let me briefly explain what a reserve system is. Reserve systems has three components. The first is called reserve categories. So resources, so fraction of available resources are earmarked for categories. So you see three categories in this examples. The second component is the processing order. So a certain predetermined order is followed to allocate resources. And finally, the third one is the selection criteria within each category. So in each category, seats or positions are allocated according to certain criteria. So in most real world scenarios, most of the categories are exclusive in the sense that, for example, in category 2, in this example, you see applicants with certain, characteristics are considered. Okay, so all other applicants are deemed basically unacceptable for category number 2. So when that is the case, we might actually have some vacancies in these categories, and to solve this, the reservation policies has been proposed. So basically, the reservation is a process of providing the unallocated objects and positions to the use of others, not to waste resources. So here in this paper, we argue that how you design and implement such reservation policies in conjunction with reserve systems actually matters a lot. So our main application is from India. So India is basically using the largest scale affirmative action program in the world due to its caste system. So there are three categories of people considered as potential beneficiaries for this affirmative action policy. They are called in Indian institution as people from scheduled caste, people from scheduled tribe, and people from other backward classes. So in every government, job postings and every publicly funded educational institutions, 15% of seats are earmarked for people from scheduled caste, 7.5% for people from scheduled tribes, 27% for people from other backward classes, and the rest is called unreserved or open category. It's important to note that the unreserved category or open category is open to everybody, including people from SC, ST, and OBC. Some institutional background here. So today I will be talking about admissions to technical universities in India and IITs, or Indian Institute of Technologies, are also in this, in this group of universities, one of the finest actually engineering schools in the world. So in this market, this is a centralized matching market. 1.3 million students compete for 34,000 university seats. And this market, actually, the allocation procedure in this market recently reformed by computer scientists and operation researchers. And you can read the whole process of this reform in Baswana et al. 2019. So we have in this market 5 legal requirements that we cannot question. Okay, so we will take all these 5 legal requirement as constraints to be respected. The first one is in each reserve category, open, SC, ST, and OBC, merit scores of applicants, merit scores of students who take a centralized exam must be respected. So the whole system is merit-based, and this is very crucial. The second one is open category positions are filled first, and then they fill reserved seats for SC, ST, and OBC. And this is for actually a good reason, because if you think about this, successful students from disadvantaged backgrounds, from SC, ST, and OBC, might get open category positions, so they actually provide, these reserved category seats to their fellow SC, ST, OBC students with lower scores. Number 3 is, this is unfortunate, but it is by law in India that unfilled SC and ST positions cannot be provided to the use of others. So there's a lot of politics going on about this affirmative action policy in India. So the number 3 actually causes many seats to be basically wasted, because we see every year low demand for particular programs or schools, low demand from SC and ST students. Number 4, so this our paper will be actually about number 4. 2006 Supreme Court decision basically says that unfilled OBC positions, remember 27% of all positions are reserved for OBC. This is a very large fraction. If there is any vacancy in OBC positions in programs, then they must be made open category positions. But the Supreme Court decision did not really specify how. So different, actually, basically policymakers kind of use what they understand from this Supreme Court decision. Finally, it's also very important that SC, ST, and OBC students should declare their membership to be able to consider for their reserved category positions. So if I am, for example, a SC student, and if I do not declare that, so the system doesn't know my background, and they will consider me only for open category position. So basically, the legal requirement 1 and 2 uniquely identify the following procedure, as we call as choice rule with reserves. It is very simple. It's a choice or selection procedure in 2 stages. In stage 1, you fill open category position in the program following the test scores of applicants. And in stage 2, you fill reserved categories, SC, ST, and OBC, again, following the merit scores. So this is something very straightforward. And as I said, this is a centralized marketplace. Students provide their rankings over programs, and we have, by law, well-defined selection procedures for institutions, and with these 2 input, preferences and choice procedures of institutions, we run the deferred acceptance algorithm in this market for a good reason, because we want to achieve a stable outcome that respects student preferences, institutions' selection procedures, and also it is important that given the preferences of others and the choice procedures of institutions, I must be getting the best I can. So this procedure basically provides that. So what is happening currently? So again, the system was reformed in 2015, and what they do is the following. So they run deferred acceptance algorithm. on all applicants, they find a matching, and then they look at if any OBC seats are unfilled. If that is the case, they basically update the distribution of position across categories. So basically, they transfer categories from OBC to open category that is allocated first in each institution. So what they do, they update this distribution vector and they rerun the deferred acceptance algorithm from scratch on all applicants. And they do this until no OBC seat is left unfilled. Well, why you need multiple iteration? Because suppose 10 OBC seats are vacant and transferred to the open category, but those 10, among those 10 extra open seats, some of them actually may be taken from OBC category students, which creates additional vacancies in the OBC. So this process must be repeated multiple times until there is no vacancy in OBC category. So why we wrote this paper? Well, we found that actually we can come up with a better dereservation policy that significantly increase the welfare of students. So we can actually provide a different version of deferred acceptance algorithm with the new choice rules or selection rules for institutions that provides Pareto improvement. And two, while the currently implemented multi-round deferred acceptance algorithm is manipulable by preference misreporting. So basically, it is not, it might not be in students' best interest to submit their through rankings across programs. Third, maybe I think the third point is very important. This multi-round deferred acceptance algorithm currently implemented procedure actually is manipulable by type reporting. So that means, suppose I am an let's say ST student, I might actually get a better assignment by not revealing that I am from an ST. Meaning, if I do not report my type and only considered for open category positions, it might be possible for me to receive a higher ranked program. Okay, so this item number 3 is actually completely against the spirit of the affirmative action, because when we design affirmative action policies, we want people to tell their categories to us and then get benefit from that. Okay, last 2 minutes, so I will speed up a little bit. So we design basically, first of all, we identify the root of this problem. And the root of this problem is this multi-round deferred acceptance procedure creates unnecessary rejection cycles and actually give applicants channels to impact the adjustment of these categories quotas by preference and category misreporting. So we introduced 2 choice procedures to entangle the reservation, and we call them backward and forward transfer choice rules. And we propose deferred acceptance mechanism with respect to these choice rules. So what we do actually, let me just tell you with a single sentence, very simply, the current system rerun the procedure to update the capacities of the categories. Well, we do not rerun the deferred acceptance, but we rerun the choice procedure of an institution to make this transfer from OBC to open category. And we run deferred acceptance only once. Okay, so when you do that, actually deferred acceptance mechanism with respect to these choice rules or selection rules, Pareto dominates the currently implemented multi-round deferred acceptance mechanism. This gives us welfare improvement. And 2, this new mechanism, deferred acceptance mechanism, actually removes all incentive, basically all bad incentives. So it makes it actually in students' best interest, applicants' best interest, to report their type and preferences over programs truthfully. And that's it. So we basically argue here that how the reservation policies are implemented matters a lot in conjunction with the resource systems, and we actually introduced two procedures to achieve better properties. These are named priority improvement and removing strategic issues from the system. And thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation, Bertan, and great job on the timing as well. You were literally on the dot. We have 1 minute for questions. I don't see any in the Q&A, but if you have any quick questions, now is a good time to ask them. And in the meantime, I thought that I might ask a question. So you mentioned in the introduction that two of the other categories, whenever there are unfilled seats, these don't get reallocated. So are there any incentive reasons, or are there any kind of sound reasons why they might do that?
Well, it is by law, so it is as we learn a lot about kind of Indian politics during we have been working on Indian affirmative action policies since 2014. So it's actually about mostly about politics and vote bank, and it is very, very difficult to change these laws in India. Unfortunately, the 2006 Supreme Court decision, there was a huge debate about the large fraction of the OBC category. So they increased OBC fraction to 27%, and a lot of seats remain vacant. So remember, this is a market with 1 million students competing for 30,000 seats. And if you have vacancy in this market, there must be something really wrong, because the number of demand is significantly higher than the supply.